Listening to the City World Radio Network. High-definition digital radio broadcasting from the city to the world. www.cityworldradio.com.
Hey gang, you're up front with Frank Rothstein on the City World Radio Network, broadcasting as always. We are also on Skies Crescent Radio on Spreaker.com. You can find it either by Spreaker.com/Skies Crescent Radio or /Upfront with Frank Rothstein. I am also broadcasting on LiveMe. I am also broadcasting on Facebook. On Katrina, let's see, on Jade Zabrick's page, and I believe that we will now be appearing, or maybe on iHeartRadio.com. I guess I'm not sure yet about that. Sitting with me as always, a woman that tugs on Superman's cape and spits in the wind. She pulls the mask off of the Lone Ranger, and she will mess around with Jim. It is the fearless Jade Zabrick. Also joining us today is a repeat visitor. This is what, your third or fourth time?
Third, I think.
Third. Okay, that's cool. She's sitting in a different chair to see what the view looks like. It is director, producer, and anything else she wants to be, Katrine Hilbe. Hello, Katrine.
Hey, Frank.
You're busy.
Yes. Well,
you got a lot going on.
Well, who doesn't?
You got a lot going on. Tell us about it.
Well,
I hear you got a play going on. We're reading, at least.
Well, it's a reading, but it's a real thing that I really care about. It's the new play by Sam Graeber called Horny Bastards. And we're having a reading of that on November 17th here in New York City at the Wild Project as part of the International Human Rights Art Festival.
That's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot.
That's actually a year-long endeavor, but it really has sort of its hub, its core in a festival in November. But Tom Block, who has created this festival, is really creating events all throughout the year, focusing on art that shares a human endeavor and human rights, and basically focuses on empathy and sharing diverse stories and stories that we need to tell in this world where we're now actually sometimes a little too isolationist and shutting out stories. So that festival doesn't do that. And Horny Bastards, which I love the title, so I just can't help repeating myself, is about the rhino poaching, for one thing. And the rhinos are bordering on extinction. And their horn is very sought after for two reasons. For one, it's considered an aphrodisiac, which makes as much sense as if you got an erection from chewing your fingernails, have at it. Because it's basically the same material that is in a rhino horn, namely carotid. So there's nothing to that myth, but it still holds a lot of sway, especially in the Asian world. And the other thing, it's a power symbol. If someone at a business meeting can plop a real rhino horn that runs for $500,000 on the black market, you're the man. So the play sort of tells a story about that, and at the same time explores on a more subtle level the situation that women experience in the workplace as being prey, as being targeted, similar as these animals are. And so in a story that Sam Graeber really very compellingly tells, it's trying to create this correlation. And so we're developing this script for a production next year, and we're having it read to a public and then really get feedback and say, hey guys, you're onto something great, or what the fuck are you thinking? So come out and hear it.
That sounds like a lot. Okay. Okay. Well, we're not poaching, and certainly I'm not looking to take a woman's tusk.
No, it's a lot of work.
It is. It is. And letting everyone know our phones are open, 646-690-2976. 646-690-2976. Also, we are camping out on Katrine Hilvey's Facebook page, so if you're too shy to call in, you can always go there and leave a comment or a question, and we will read it live. And if you text her, they're all props for me, and I hear her phone buzzing. So we will, no, it's not my phone. Okay.
Nope.
I'm hearing a buzz. Okay.
Or maybe it's your buzz.
It may be the voice in my head buzzing.
Yes.
So that could be it also. But either way, if you send in a text, we will read it live. Hello, everyone on LiveMe. Hello, everyone on Facebook. And we're still talking. Feel free to comment or question and all that stuff. So let me see if I got this right. This play is comparing. Is that a fair word? Correlating, comparing?
It's rather, since it's not
Equating.
it's not just a, well, the thing is, it's a play.
Okay.
So it's not just an advertisement or a partisan sort of commercial, say, don't kill rhinos, be nice to women. But it's a play. So it tells a story. And it tells the story of a journalist who wants to write about rhinos and wants to write about this almost lost topic of what is happening to these enormously wonderful, peaceful holdovers from evolution, and her own situation in the magazine world, in the journalistic world, gets explored sort of by proxy as part of the story. So it's not a preachy play. It has important subjects at heart, but it's a story. It's a story about people and characters.
It is not a subject that goes away. Every time you turn around, there's someone with a picture of them.
Nope.
I don't know how they pose that giraffe like that, but they do it.
I
don't know why anybody would want to kill a lion, then pose it for a picture like he's a piece of furniture. I don't get it. But that's what humans do.
Yes, they do.
That's one of our many flaws. It's not like they're looking to take the giraffe home and eat it, and certainly don't need the food or the. They just want the picture.
I guess I don't. The whole trophy thing is a whole different kettle of fish.
And they're cowards.
Well,
they're going into enclosed areas. They're going into places where you're supposed to go. They want to impress me. Let them go out into wherever and take your chances.
Well, the curious thing about rhinos is they're huge and at the same time so peaceful. To calm down a rhino and to take its horn, you put a towel over its head. And that calms it down. It doesn't see anything, but it's calm. I mean, that's in a way heartbreaking.
Yes,
that you have this enormous animal and you take away a defense of his, and instead of going into a panic, it gets soothed and you can do horrible things to it. So that in itself is a whole subject matter.
Okay. Now again, I equate that to the other half of the thought.
Well, it's not so much equating. You can't equate one wrong with
Or
another.
compare.
Because not all things are equal, and situations are differentiated. But it creates sort of a correlation also in the way the play is written. It uses similar language in the way it talks about targeting, about being a predator, about being a prey, about the feeling that this reporter has of trying to make her way in a male dominated workplace as a young woman, as a feeling vulnerable and feeling as prey and hiding out and trying to be as unseen as possible. So it's that correlation more rather that happens under the surface between those two subjects.
Because I was just picturing, when you said bringing back the image of bringing back the tusk and dropping it on the table, I just pictured guys in college doing something stupid like bringing back the cheerleaders' underwear, just bringing
For
back.
instance,
that would be
a
something.
trophy,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Something a trophy, something that proves you have a conquest.
Yeah.
And women as something to be conquered and an object to be prized, as something to be possessed and objectified, and also for not an inherent human quality, but basically for, the fact that she's hot or considered hot or good looking or otherwise unattainable. And then the guy who actually manages to break down those defenses, he's again the man. So that's sort of in that language and in that framework of thinking, there are parallels and correlations that this play sort of alludes to without making sort of blatant points. Because otherwise it would just be a tract, a political tract. And you can go, oh, yeah, I agree with that. I've now been in the theater. I think rhino poaching is bad and being bad to women is bad, too. I didn't necessarily need those 3 hours. But it's a very compelling story with really engaging characters. And there's humor in it, too. So,
How big is the cast? How many members?
6. Cast of 6.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the... That's the play with the
rhinos.
The rhinos, and I'm trying to think of what else I was thinking of. I lost my thought here for a second. I was thinking of a musical play. Now that's not the play I'm thinking.
It has 6 people.
I'm looking at notes for everything here. So
yeah, right.
6 people. Okay, I'm just.
Well, actually, having casting calls out to actors, and for readings, I don't hold auditions. I have such a network. So I call out, and one email I just sent, hey, would you like to read the character of a Florida snake wrangler who gets eaten by a lion?
Yeah, I'm listening to the writer who puts it in the perspective of as only men are looking to conquer. And I don't know if it's 100% every time the man looking to conquer.
I think and that has really very little to do with the play. I'm now going on a tangent here. What is often not talked about is that there's this culture. We're talking about the culture of consent. Yes means yes, no means no. But we also have a culture of women playing hard to get. That a woman who says yes is considered easy. So you have to put up a lot of defenses for the man to break through so that they feel it's worth their while. Otherwise you consider it, easy or floozy or whatever. So there's also this counter convention of women sort of having to play, oh no, I don't want to, oh no, please not, but please persist. And
which will send you a mixed message every time.
of
create
course,
confusion.
exactly. But that is
And-
also the culture. So, and it's not really. I've hardly ever heard talked about that aspect of it.
I was laughing with a friend of mine the other day that I lost track of how many women I knew along the way who just, there are a few of them that just, I know plenty, but there were a few who were just no damn good. And you knew they wanted whatever they can get. And I was laughing because as we're discussing this, he has his dog sitting there. His dog is chewing on a bone. Neighbor walks in with her dog. You have the male dog chewing on the bone. The female dog walks in. Little dog. Little yipper of a dog. And, of course, the other dog gets up and he's sniffing around. He's doing what dogs do. They sniff. That's their job. And I'm looking, and the little dog really wants nothing to do with him. And I'm looking at my friend, and I said, I'll bet she's going to look to take his prized possession. And sure enough, while he's looking and confused to seeing who's around him, the little female dog took his bone and started to walk out of the store with it. I said, there you go. This is the way it is. So, and that's, I know the politically correct and what's on the news is it's men over women. I understand that. But it's not 100% of the time. It really isn't. And it's so while the play is right, it may not be 100% right all the time. It's just
well, let's put it
that's
this way.
That's the only way I can think of
The
it.
play addresses it in where I do feel I'm glad we're opening that Pandora's box finally, because it's not, whenever power comes into play, it's not a level playing field. And that's where the rules change. Because what you're talking about is men and women sort of have their dance. And yes, it's mixed messages, but nothing is really lost if somebody gets a no or a mixed message or something, if it's a level playing field. The moment you have power, the moment one person is an employee or a dependent or anything.
That is true.
And that's where it gets sticky. And the Me Too movement has really, for the first time, finally really exploded that to say there's a whole culture of power abuse that needs to be addressed, opened up, and just said, hey, we're not just going to shut up about it anymore. It's just not cool. And that is where it's different, because happy dances is all good if it's a level playing field. If not, other real economic factors come into play, like keeping your job.
Yes, that is true.
You know.
That is true. But that can also work both ways. Now the amount of time it's going to work both ways is not even. That's not even.
No,
however,
not yet.
as we read in the newspaper just yesterday with the police officer,
Right.
who is, so she's going to have a problem of her own.
Of course, and well, she should. But as we know, the power balance between men and women in the workplace more often still works the other way.
And we have a comment. I am on Sky's Crescent radio feed of this show, and it's Patrick Cockman who says, I would so do character that gets eaten by lion. I was big in theater arts and choir in high school. Well, let's just pour some hot sauce on you and throw you into the jungle. There you go.
Well, Patrick, that's amazing.
We're melting some cheese on Patrick. Okay,
yes,
that's cool.
we are.
And I'm glad his aunt is watching the show. Okay, cool, man. That's good. Okay.
You know what? Anything to entice good actors, good performers,
Listen.
whatever floats your boat.
Listen, that
And I
works.
certainly, the guy I sent that casting call out to, he immediately said, I'm in.
There you go. It is 9:18. The phone is 646-690-2976. And we're looking for your call, and let's hear from you. Feel free. Call in. Ask us any question, because Katrine has other stories to tell us, because she's doing a big traveling road thing. And we're going to hear about that, too, in about 2 seconds, because she's answering a text.
Well,
And
I'm
we're
actually
gonna-
asking, because the playwright, Sam, he's in Minneapolis, and he would like to chime in. And
Sam, where the hell are you?
well, he may call in. because he's not only the writer of Horny Bastards, but also of the play that I'm taking to Europe in January. So.
And by the way, I wanted to boost this show on Facebook. We like a couple of dollars. I wanted like 5 days of ad time.
Cool.
But because the title of the play is Horny Bastards, their morals. Forget the women who are dancing out here are showing you everything but what you. They wouldn't let me do it.
They wouldn't.
They would not. No.
Wow.
Hello.
Hey Frank, this is Sam Graber, playwright from Horny Bastards.
How are you, Sam? I'm glad you're calling. We do have we do have Katrine listening to you, and we're seeing what's going on, and we're adjusting the equipment. Say hello to us again.
Hey, hey.
There you go. Katrine, say hello. Be sociable.
Hey, Sam, you made it.
Hello, Katrine. Yes, I've got the power of cellular phone technology. So
you are amazing, and you're in Minneapolis. Is winter there already?
Actually, it did snow here a week and a half ago.
Did. Now, before we go any further, because we just had to adjust the phone, on the phone with us now is Sam Graber. He is the playwright of Horny Bastards, and he is called because we're going to be talking about this and some other stuff.
And also about the other play that we're taking to Europe, Shooter, which Sam also wrote. So,
yes.
There you go.
You got some good material, Sam.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to speak with you previously when you had Katrine on, and it's great to finally be able to call in and connect with you.
Next time you come on with her. She'll be back. I know she's going to host a show on her own.
Yeah, right. I'm enjoying myself way too much, just being Frank's second banana.
Oh, well. Someone's got to be a second banana.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, there's a terrible obscene pun in there somewhere, I'm sure.
Sam, tell us about your thoughts on... We're still on Horny Bastards. Tell us what you're thinking.
Okay.
Chime in.
You mean in regards to the production at the International Human Rights Arts
That's
Festival?
The one.
Or do you mean with the script in general?
Both.
Yeah, so the script was born about a year ago when a friend of mine here, who's very active in the anti-poaching work in South Africa, said that she wants to have a great gala benefit and create a new artistic work to be featured at the benefit that would draw a lot of attention. And she asked me if I would write a play for that. And I was sort of, because we're friends socially here, I sort of diplomatically tried to edge myself off of committing to it. And then when I started reading more about rhino poaching, I started to think a little bit more about, really what it represents and the global interconnectedness of some serious social and political issues. So the play began to gestate into being a missive on how things are more than what they seem. And I think that might also extend a little bit to Shooter as well, just sort of the creative process on how we tell stories that expose a deeper meaning and a deeper root cause behind some serious social ills. And so Horny Bastards, then, I apologize if I'm treading over already spoken territory here tonight, but the play became really about the connection between rhino poaching in Africa and the sexual harassment of women in America. But of course, as you'll see in the play, it really talks about much more, and it expands into the concept of male lust.
Sam, are you talking into the phone?
I'm talking right into the phone.
You're on speaker.
I'm not.
Okay. Well,
Okay, now you're getting
much better.
Now you're better. Yeah, keep talking.
Okay. So it's really about male lust and how rhino poaching is an extension of that, and how the stakes are raised much higher in other parts of the world than the United States with regard to women who were subjugated to some terrible crimes of humanity around the world. So anyway, the play just sort of unpacks it another layer, both higher and deeper at the same time.
Okay. Katrine, add in.
There's very little I can add to that.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And well, the reading that we're having Saturday, November 17th at 4:30 at the Wild Project in the East Village, is really a step along the way because we want to get it produced next year in New York City. In the later half of 2019, and the way the script is now. We've spoken a lot about it. We've dramaturged the shit out of it over the past months. And this is now really sort of a stepping stone. So whoever comes to reading, we want to hear what they say. We want to take people's pulse to see, are we on the right track? Is the story communicating? Whatever you feel about the issues, are you engaged with these people? And that is really what we're looking for this step along the way.
Well, it's interesting because the most famous case for harassment of women, to put it mildly, would be Harvey Weinstein at the moment. Right. And as I'm sitting here,
and he kind of looks like a rhino. Never mind.
So he's a healthy sized guy. But now, as the updates go, since he has the first victory of the first trial, one aspect he won, but that's another story. Now I'm looking at the headline saying accusers and insurers are in early talks to settle civil claims. One article says why the DA's case against him was in trouble before it began. And when these cases come up, when you're first hearing about it, the second you start getting the gist of what happened, I always start in with, I believe everything the accusers are saying, but they may not get him. And it's not because I'm anti-woman. It's not because I think he should get away with whatever he wants to get away with. It's pretty much because, as we have seen in high-profile cases many times for a million different crimes, the prosecution gets sloppy. They're not thoroughly investigating every accuser. They're not thoroughly investigating every investigator. And before you know it, mistakes happen. And they've already found a few mistakes. Because all of a sudden, where they know they're going to get him, now they're looking to settle. So I don't know who instigated. I didn't really read about who's instigating the settlements. But suddenly a door is opening.
Well, the big problem with all of these cases, which is similar to rape cases, is in a court of trial, you need evidence-based or testimonial-based proof. And unless you really have it in you after a rape to immediately go to the police station, have yourself medical examined, which even then that might be a harrowing experience. So even if you have that in you, which most women do not, where does the proof then lie? And then you have he says, she says this happened. And that's how he will deny it.
And that is how we just had a Supreme Court justice.
I know.
In the same, it took. That's just the way. That's how it goes. So all of a sudden, the doors are opening for this guy to either avoid jail time and pay his way out.
Yes, and then there's the other thing, of course, statute of limitation, and it's poof.
And the flip side of the lawyer saying something's happened, we may not get him. Let's go for we can settle
for the settlement,
and that way, I don't know, whatever you get something.
I'm amazed that Crosby that trial, the second round, actually led to a conviction. Bill Cosby, that it led to a conviction. I was convinced it wouldn't.
If he didn't give that interview saying, yes, I had the intention of having sex with her, it probably wouldn't have. But
yes. So you really have to get someone at that age where he kind of doesn't keep track of himself anymore at all.
One of the jokes that people make when there's a crime, they always want to know that Colonel Mustard did it in the kitchen with the knife. He might as well have said, "Hi, I'm Colonel Mustard." That's pretty much what he did. And there you go. Sam, you're still with us. You're so quiet.
I'm right here.
Come on, tell us what you're thinking. Get in there.
So what I'm thinking is that when I draft dramatic work that cuts into sort of the sticky beats of today's social situation, I have to do it in such a way that doesn't function as a polemic and that doesn't function as an exemplum. but what I mean by that is I have to try to use theater as a way to broaden the prism so that more light can shed on what we look at as, what should or should not happen. And so this play actually takes a look at two characters who are stuck in a situation where they are victims of something that never happened to them. So the play actually asks all the people who are near it and who see it but aren't directly impacted by it or aren't directly victims of assault or harassment, are they still victims? And how does their life change just by being around it or being in fear of it?
To me, it doesn't have to be sexual assault. It could be anything. And once you feel like you're a victim, you'll always remember the feeling.
Well, and also, I think what Sam is mentioning, what he talks about is living in that culture. Even if you yourself have not been a direct victim, you're still part of that culture and you're still sort of subdued or influenced by that culture. And that is definitely what... Well, though I must say, but now we're getting into too sticky, I would say that at least one character... I would say that both the characters that you're talking about are a little more than just bystanders. I mean, they've participated in that culture. And so it's not just they're sort of insouciant members of that culture. No, they actually actively participated in it, both of them.
Yes.
So.
Yes, but
But now we're kind of losing our audience, Sam, because nobody except us knows the play.
Well, they're
sometimes
listening.
People go to the theater and they expect to see a story that's ripped from the headlines just so it gives an excuse to then carry on an argument that's already happened. And I think Katrine and I work very hard to bring something to the theater stage that exposes people to parts of the world and parts of themselves that they might not have known or even confronted prior to taking a seat in the theater, and doing it in a way that's not a this versus that, but trying to take a more emotionally mature approach and sophisticated approach to thinking about how all these things are connected across the world, especially where the stakes are raised. I mean, in this country, if you make a claim of sexual harassment, we have legal processes to deal with it. But in other countries, when you make a claim of sexual harassment as a woman, you're thrown in jail and raped. And so there's a childishness and yet a very mature process in this country that conflicts with each other. And I think what we're trying to do as artists is demonstrate that we have it good and bad, but we also have the potential, if we're not careful, to be so much worse than we are today.
We always have that potential. That's nothing new. I always remember a George Carlin bit about why aliens don't come here.
He had a bit about that?
Yeah, he had a whole big bit about that.
That's great.
And as I always say, only humans can do the stuff that happens here. You don't see human skin rugs in a lion's den. There's no human head on a deer's wall. I don't see any fish standing on a dock throwing a worm so we go shaking our head. The things that we do, no other species on Earth can do. It's incredible. That is a very broad point. But I'll actually look up that bit because I love George Carlin.
Yeah. And at the same time, one of the things that we have that I believe no other species has on the planet is this capacity for unlimited imagination. And what I love about the theater that still holds, while people can pull, content on their mobile and, you can just be entertained anywhere. One of the great things I think about being forced to come and sit in a theater and watch something for 90 minutes is that we can use human imagination in such a way that can make a sort of a permanent spot on your soul. And so Katrine and I, and Katrine forces me to work really hard to make sure we get to that point where we're telling a story that just grabs people and doesn't let them go. And when they leave, they may never think the same way again about a particular situation. And so I think we're trying to do that with Horny Bastards.
You'll get it.
In a way that doesn't paint any person as the bad guy
now
or the bad girl.
before we move on to the next subject, is this a reading that is going to go further, or is this a reading with hopes of going further? Are you testing it out now and working it out for a stage production of a full play, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And how do we get tickets for this, or is this?
Yes, you get tickets for it at the International Human Rights Art Festival website, and that's. Oh God, Sam, do you have that website in front of you?
I wish I did.
IHAF.org.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it's IHAF.org, and otherwise Google International Human Rights Art Festival, and we're on November 17th at 4:30 p.m. at the Wild Project, and there's no way you can miss a title like Horny Bastards.
International Arts.
Yeah, I think it's IHAF.org.
International Human Rights Arts Festival.
Art Festival, singular.
There's some pretty incredible people involved with it.
Yes.
Well, I am punching this up while I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I want to know where the tickets are.
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, what? Jay, take over. I'm looking for tickets. Okay, I'm doing it. Here we go.
Does it work?
And well, Jane's looking at, she's hearing the scraping sound, and that's my bracelets hitting the table because I'm using the. Okay, here it is. The Wild Project. I see.
So is the website correct? IHAF.org?
I see the Wild Project. Yeah, IHAF.org. .org. Yeah,
cool.
And they have it's with the 2018 schedule, and you will find it that way.
Yes.
Now, you're going on a road trip.
Yes, we are.
Sam, you going with her?
No, the bastard's not going. He's staying behind in Minneapolis and watching it from afar.
You are the writer, and if you're not there and something needs to be changed, she has a pencil.
Well, it's funny that you say that because there's a ton of work that went into translating the entire script into Italian so that the play is going to be performed aloud in English, but they're going to have subtitles in Italian. So I don't think she'll be able to actually change anything because it would totally mess with all the prep work that's been done.
Well, you know what? From our team, honestly, Sam, I'm the only one who could tell the difference.
There you go. So let's
right.
So I'm the only one who speaks Italian.
But at this moment, only the three of us know what we're talking about. And what we're talking about is Sam and Katrine have this play called Shooter that earlier this year was produced. And what theater again?
It was at Theatre Lab. This past March.
And it got picked up.
Yes, we submitted it to a new festival called On Stage, and it brings American productions, American theater to Rome, to a new theater, a new venue actually in Rome. And so I just blithely submitted it, and they loved it. And the artistic director of Kairos Theater, Laura Caparotti, came to see our show and said, "Yep, I'll recommend it." Because this is the 6th season of In Scena, which is Italian theater productions coming to New York. And they're now, for the first year, creating sort of their sister counterpart in Rome. So we're their canary in a coal mine, along with 5 other productions, amongst them Stephen Wolford's amazing one-man show, Cry Havoc, which I've seen a couple of years ago. And so because it's a big endeavor to bring a cast of 5 and set, even if it's mostly plastic, to Rome, I got us 2 more gigs in Liechtenstein, where I'm from, at the theater there, and 2 performances in Konstanz, at Theater Konstanz in Germany. So we're over there for 6 performances, 2 in Liechtenstein, 2 in Germany, and then we're taking a 8-seater van in January over the Alps to Rome.
There'll be a lot of singing in this van.
I'm sure. That is my version of Hannibal.
Okay, so you're going to 3 countries with different cultures, different understandings of things.
Yes, and different sets of weapons.
And we'll get to that in a second. The play, which was written in America, of course, how do you have to compensate for different cultures, different understandings, different beliefs?
Well, Shooter explores the correlation between the increasingly fragmented male identity and the lure of our domestic gun culture, which is a very uniquely American issue, which On Stage Festival thought exciting because they said, yeah, we want American production, so this is a very American theme. That is true, but at the same time, the beautiful term that I translated from German, function insecurity, that men in the first and second world experience in this day and age of jobs are no longer as secure as they used to. The relationship between the genders is getting ever more fluid, and therefore sort of the traditional criteria of masculinity just no longer hold. And that experience, what in this country is called white man's pain, that experience is equally resonant in Liechtenstein and Germany and Italy. The solution, namely to find purpose and clarity and sort of a power in holding a gun, in this magnitude is uniquely American.
How about the language? Do you have to adjust any of the wording for the language?
No, because Shooter is not written in a highly, excuse me, Sam, it's written beautifully, of course, but it's not a hugely complicated language.
She just got you, Sam.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's not a hugely complicated language. And both people in Liechtenstein, as in Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, have a really decent grasp of English.
Okay.
And I will give introductions before every production, every performance, and then afterwards there's feedback session. Only in Italy, it will be performed with Italian supertitles.
Because I know if I try to write you a letter in German, no matter what I want to say, it's going to come out wrong because I'm not writing it in German. I'm thinking American,
of course.
I'm thinking English, but I'm writing it and it'll come out that way,
right.
and it'll make a mistake.
Yeah. No,
and
I mean,
alphabets change.
Yeah, but we're bringing the American cast there. It will be performed in English. But people, I brought to Liechtenstein a show a couple of years ago that was almost like a spoken word piece that was highly text heavy and really complex also in the way it rattled off information in a poetic language. And I also did an introduction, and it went over really well. Good. The audience, yeah. So German speakers are pretty good with English.
Good. Sam, what do you think? It's going overseas. You're a hit.
Hey, let's go to Europe, anyone? Come on.
You're a hit. Are you getting T-shirts out of this?
Just get a cheap ticket, and Katrine will tie you down on top of the van and just drive you over the Alps. It'll be great.
Tie me down. I'm going to surf. I'm just going to surf. I'm bringing some like Dick Dale music with me to all the other countries, playing it loud early in the morning.
It's really cool to be able to have the work live on past the initial production, and especially export it overseas to audiences who are watching what happens in this country with all the shooter massacres and going, what is that? And so, and I'm sure you've been to Europe and you travel around and you just see how hungry people are for live art. I mean, it's just as New York, Katrine has sort of schooled me on why New York is such a spiritual place, and Europe, is a cousin to that. And it's really wonderful when you can get over there and just present your art to audiences that want it. So I'm really proud of the work and the artists that are going overseas with it.
It is a notch in your belt. Your work was picked up, and it's going to Europe. Man. That's a great thing.
It's really all because of the hard work of Katrine. I mean, she's more than a director. She's sort of the goddess of making things happen, and so it's a real privilege and treat to be working with her and learning from her. So.
She's shaking her head no. I'm not sure if it means because she's not a goddess or she didn't make it happen.
No, I'm not shaking my head. I
Bristling.
like to think of myself as a goddess because then I could sort of just have a magic wand to make this happen. But it's kind of just a scrappy producer thing. I kind of feel sort of like, the Ken Casey, the tangerine-colored Kool-Aid test. because it is a scrappy little tour, but it's going to be
Well,
amazing.
Call it a team effort because in order
yeah.
for you to make it happen, you
Yeah.
had to get the right product, the
Oh,
correct
totally.
writing, and that came from Sam. So it starts
And
somewhere.
also, I must say, I mean, the cast that we have, you can only do these things with a certain group of people. You can't just do it with any cast. And this cast of 5 guys is just so game and so fun and so chill about it all that I have
They're
no
all
fear.
excited. They're all at home sitting there. They're excited First, we're
As
having
well
a
they
holiday.
should be.
Yeah, and yes, they should. Yes, they should. They probably all thought they had a 1 night, a 3. Excuse me. How many nights were that originally?
Oh, we had
You
a
had
4-week
good
run.
Yeah,
Oh,
4
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
They had a run
And we have one new guy because one actor had to drop out because he wasn't available for the tour,
Oh, that's-
and so we had a replacement. But I've worked with Ian Gould before, but everybody else: Ian Sheehy, Michael Gannett, Ty Corbin, David Peres-Rada, and now Ian Gould. I mean, am I missing anyone? Oh God, I hope not. No, I got all 5 because they're like from the first read through, and now with the new guy Ian, it was just a perfect fit. So it'll be fun.
The first time I went into New York and Katrine was directing, and I saw them read a very early version of the play, your jaw just drops because their talent just takes it over. They're just amazing.
When a play like this gets requested to go overseas, where does that information, where does that news appear? Who knows about this?
Well, in this case, I knew about this new festival because I'm a member of the League of Professional Theatre Women and of their international committee. And Laura Caparotti, who is the artistic director of Kairos, Italy, and of the Incena, she publicized this new festival. And so that's how I heard first about this new festival. How you hear about what we're doing, you go to shootertheplay.com.
No, shootertheplay.com.
There's that.
I meant industry. So, or when
Industry, you mean about the new
well,
festival?
Put it this way: now that there's a word that this director was good enough, and the play is going overseas, and the playwright was good enough, and this play is going overseas. Where does that appear? That's. I mean, is there like press for it?
Not in this country so much. I mean, we have just
Word
an
of
invited.
mouth?
Word of mouth. I mean, people look at my track record. They look at my website and they say, "Oh, she took Shooter to Europe," and let's hope we get good reviews. And
Someone's noticing.
exactly.
There you
So
go.
that's kind of how it works. Because obviously here in New York, there's no reason to publicize it that greatly. We're not performing in New York anymore.
Oh, I think there is. I think
So-
because someone's looking for a director down the road. What have
I
they done?
hope so,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Wait, she was.
Yes. So I do have
He
my.
wrote that. He wrote this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sam has his website. I have my 2 websites, and I mean, now that we're doing it, obviously we'll also be opening a crowdfunding campaign very soon.
Where will that be?
Either an Indiegogo campaign, but I've just been pitched the idea because I have a birthday coming up, November 3rd, and I was thinking of maybe starting a Facebook campaign on November 3rd, sort of like a birthday campaign.
Does Facebook
for-
campaigns work?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I was just seeing a friend now who said that for her company it worked really well.
I know one guy who tried it, but he didn't word it correctly, and it read that it wasn't like a fundraiser for his new company. It looked like a fundraiser for him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You just need a couple of word changes.
Yeah, no. I mean, whether you do Indiegogo campaign or Facebook campaign, you do have to really work hard at pitching it right.
Yes, you do.
So we do have
And
now.
you have to update. They want to know it there.
Oh, constantly.
They want to know that something is working
It's
out.
working and doing, yeah. So we're working on a video right now and getting our perks ready for whoever gives us more than $20. If you give us $20, you'll get our undying gratitude. But if you give us more, you get
you get to be shot on stage.
Now there's a thought.
There's a thought. You get to be a victim.
Oh God.
Sam, we're coming to the end of this. Any final thoughts from you?
No, I mean, it's really wonderful to be able to come on your show and talk about it. I hope it's just entertaining and excellent radio for all the listeners out there. And theater is really still alive, very much so in New York and even in Minneapolis. It's a thriving theater scene. But there's a lot of places in this country where theater's evaporating and becoming sort of miniaturized. And so it's wonderful to still have a really vibrant.
Unfortunately, I blame the internet for everything.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it's working out, and I hope everything works out for you in this play and on its trip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I hope you can make it to the Arts Festival. I'd love to see you there and love to have you in the audience, laughing along and being part of the show.
I will try. Yeah. Sam, do you have an email address or a website that people can find you on and check you out?
I do. It's samgraber.com.
Okay, that'll do it. Samgraber.com. That's easy to remember.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
And then for Shooter, there's shootertheplay.com. And Sam today proudly messaged me, I updated it. So it should now actually tell you what you need to know now.
Yeah. Well, while we're plugging away, Jay, do you have anything coming up? Mike too. You could do it. Mike too.
Hello. Yeah, I just found out. I think I'm going to be at the bitter end playing a couple of songs on Thursday, for an artist named Dale Novella. She's pretty cool. And then on Monday, I'm going to be at the Mess Hall in Harlem.
I sit next to the woman. Doesn't call me and tell me. Doesn't say a word to me. I have to walk by, see her in the window, ask for an autograph. Okay, Sam. I thank you for calling in.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll hopefully talk to you soon, and I appreciate it. And hello to everyone in New York.
Hey, back to Minneapolis, and keep the snow where you are.
Yes, keep that fireplace burning. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you for
Bye,
calling
Sam.
in. Good night.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah. So you're all ready. You're fundraising. You're going for Indiegogo.
Yes.
You're going for Facebook.
Yes.
You're doing good.
Yes.
And what are your websites?
My website is my personal website, which is katrinhilbe.com. That is KATRINHILBE.com. And then there's my company website, which is Many Tracks, like many tracks lead to Rome, so to speak. And it's one word, manytracks.org. And and for Shooter specifically, there's also shootertheplay.com. But on katrinhilbe.com and manytracks.org, I try to really keep my own work and my company work updated and for people to find me. And of course, you can find me on Facebook under... I do have a company site, but I usually populate my own site, Katrin Hilbe, so you can find me there.
Jay, are you still using
Instagram.
SkiesCrescentRadio.com?
You can also find me on Instagram, and that's Katrina Bliss.
Oh, I'll have to look for that. All right. So we have Katrina Bliss, Skies Crescent Radio, up front with Frank Rothstein. It is 9:52. And Katrine, thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Next time you're hosting, you bring in a friend, you're hosting. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I had someone else do it 2 times out of the last 3 weeks. She loved it. You'll love it, too.
We'll see.
You're a director. You tell them what to say. It's fine. Thank you to Sam for calling in. We have 2 minutes to go. As always, you could write to me anytime you want. upfrontfrank@gmail.com. upfrontfrank@gmail.com. I thank everybody on Facebook for tuning in, everyone on LiveMe for tuning in. I will talk to everyone later on, somewhere along the line. And if you've... By the way, before I get off and I have 2 minutes... does anyone know what the current, at this moment, Mega Million jackpot is? Let me see what this is. Huh?
2 billion?
Did he get to 2 billion?
Oh, wow. Is it up to 2 billion?
I'm looking right now. I'm looking before we go anywhere. More expensive to enter, harder to win. Okay, let's see what it says here. What is the prize? Well, they jacked up the price from $1 a game to $2 a game. But I want to know
That's a serious investment.
Yes, it is. I'm Googling this real quick before we get off because there's a reason why I say this. And that sound is my bracelets hitting
the table, and the table is groaning under the
Well-
torture. Yes.
Okay, good. Let's see. It could be $2 billion. I don't see that for a fact. It says $1.6 billion.
That's still a lot of money.
That's a fortune. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. It was $1.6 billion the second no one won it on Friday. It was $1.6 billion on Saturday, $1.6 billion on Sunday, and $1.6 billion this morning. However, people have been all around the country sticking money into this game all weekend long. And the prize, unless I am mistaken, because I don't see it updated here, is still $1.6 billion. It could get to $2 billion. I'm seeing that. That's what it says. It could, but I don't see an announcement saying it happened yet. You know what that means? All the participating states are keeping the money. And that's what really happens. And even if you win and you get an unimaginable amount of money, it is probably a 10 or a single-digit percentage of what was really taken in. And the states keep the money, and that's how it really goes. But I hope I win so I can complain about it even more. Anyway, I thank everyone for coming in. Jade, thanks for holding us together. Katrina, again, thank you for being here. It is 9:55, and I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Next week I'll play some odd end, nothing common Halloween music. Have a good night.
You served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. Each year, AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects ranging from Americanism in our schools to supporting the Special Olympics and Boy Scouts of America. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
Today's entertainment has been brought to you in part by Galitos Restaurant. Galitos specializes in Portuguese cuisine. In addition to these delicacies, Galitos offers pasta, steaks, seafood, and chops. A full-service bar includes wines, beers, and spirits to complement your meal. Galitos offers casual ambiance at the bar or their dining room. Galitos also has a private banquet room for social events with a party package to accommodate your budget. Galitos also offers seasonal cafe seating. Galitos is located at 29 Elm Avenue in Mount Vernon, New York, conveniently located across from the Mount Vernon East train station.